So investigations into the Bidens have been quietly percolating in recent months, but they could soon come back to the forefront as Joe Biden emerges as the candidate to beat in the Democratic race for president. Many Republicans want to probe possible ties to corruption involving his son, Hunter Biden, who profited from a Ukrainian gas company while his father was vice president. My next guest is leading that charge and planning the first subpoena in a Biden-Burisma probe. Joining me now exclusively is Republican Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, chairman of the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee. Senator, thank you. Good to have you with us this evening. So obviously, you know, this is greeted with it's embraced, I think, on the part of supporters of the president who have long said that there is something that doesn't smell quite right here. And then others look at it as something that could be a very political attack. So here's Peter Baker, White House correspondent for the New York Times. He says, look, you know, Burisma wasn't. Oh, this is soundbite. Let's play it.
Look, you know, Burisma wasn't necessary in the Republican playbook when Biden was down and out. He was a fourth place, fifth place finisher in the early primary states, and they had bigger fish to fry. Now Biden, of course, is resurgent. You're going to hear a lot more about Burisma and Hunter Biden.
So what do you say to that, Senator?
Well, first of all, I appreciate you using the words, we've been quietly percolating this investigation. My investigation into possible corruption in the Obama administration dates back to Hillary Clinton's email scandal. It was our oversight that ended up releasing most of the Peter Strzok, Lisa Page texts. I joined Chuck Grassley's investigation into possible DNC involvement with Ukraine to affect the 2016 election back in 2017. And so it's not our fault that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden got wrapped up in the whole Ukrainian story. But we're not closing our eyes to this. And I have no idea why anybody would object to us obtaining records from a U.S. consulting firm run by former Clinton administration officials that is basically using Hunter Biden's name to strong-arm the State Department to curry benefits for a corrupt Ukrainian oil company. So that's what we're trying to do here. But our investigation and our oversight is much broader than just this Ukrainian story with Hunter Biden and even the DNC.
And, you know, I mean, the fact is that if, as former Vice President Joe Biden says, there was no issue with any of this, then they shouldn't fear anyone looking into it. And as you point out, these emails that were sent to the State Department are sort of, you know, wouldn't you please talk to the folks from this firm? By the way, Hunter Biden is on their board, right? I mean, that's definitely a suggestion that that name really should open this door, right?
Yeah, precisely. And of course, you have the news media saying there's just no evidence of, well, that's because they've never looked. And so Joe Biden has never adequately answered these questions. I've said repeatedly, if there's wrongdoing, the American people need to understand that. If there is no wrongdoing, or if it's not significant, the American people need to understand that. But Martha, again, the other things we're looking at, for example, we sent a letter working with Senator Grassley to Attorney General Barr asking him to declassify 4 footnotes that, because they are redacted in the IG report, really make parts of that IG report misleading. We've also asked the National Archives to look for records of 5 meetings that occurred between January and June of 2016 between Ukrainian prosecutors, Ukrainian embassy officials, White House staff, DNC officials. We've gotten a response back from the National Archives that there could be a response in excess of 10,000 pages. We're just waiting for President Obama's counsel to release those, to sign a waiver so we can get that information. So again, our investigation is far broader. The American people deserve to understand what happened. They need to know the truth.
What do you say to those who say that this has been debunked, that the timeline doesn't match up, that, you know, by the time he joined that board, those issues were over? What's your answer to that?
One of the things we are preparing right now is a timeline, and it is incredibly interesting, and it raises all kinds of questions. It connects all kinds of dots, and that really, you know, what I'm hoping to be able to do within the next couple of months is gather enough information, verify it through things like this subpoena, and then issue at least an interim report so the American people can see what this possible corruption is. And again, it's bullying from a well-connected, swampy consulting firm, and you just have to ask the question: what was, you know, why was Prosecutor General Shokin fired. I can't get that from the U.S. government. I know it's a big explanation that everybody wanted him fired, but there's a document, we have to verify, but there's documents supposedly contemporaneous said that the contact by Blue Star to the Prosecutor General office was all about apologizing for the misinformation campaign conducted against Shokin. Kind of raises some eyebrows, some questions that need to be answered.
Well, I think we're all interested to see how that timeline matches up. And you're right, there really hasn't ever been a true investigation of all of it. And if there's nothing to worry about on the Biden's team, then they don't have anything to worry about. Senator Johnson, thank you. Good to see you tonight.
Have a great night.
You too.